So let's play a game. Name your favorite quote from any of the Avatar movies. I'll give you 3 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Because somehow the Avatar movies are some of the most expensive movies of all time, but at the same time, they are also some of the most forgettable movies I've ever come across. Now, let me preface this video by saying this is not a hate video. Okay, it is kind of a hate video, but this is mostly me being a little confused on why James Cameron keeps making the most expensive movies ever, and those movies keep making billions of dollars while disappearing from our consciousness like Thanos snapped it out of reality. So today I want to try to help you understand why Avatar seems to have no cultural impact, why it's basically the same movie 3 times, and why the movie wasted its most interesting villain till date just to bring back the space military colonizer guy. But because nuance exists, I do want to first give credit where credit is due. James Cameron knows how to make shit look beautiful. It's why he's one of my favorite movie directors of all time. Each scene is carefully handcrafted, carefully polished, carefully rendered. It's almost as if the guy had his gun to the heads of all the VFX artists. And I'm not exaggerating. But this is what breaks my brain every time I go to watch any of the Avatar movies. Those movies didn't just make money. They made historically defined money. The very first Avatar movie is actually the highest grossing movie of all time. Correct me if I'm wrong. And all the movies that have come after have also made significant amount of money. And yet, I rarely see any memes about Avatar. I rarely see any edits. There is no iconic moments. There is no I am your father moment. There is no why did you say that name moment. You don't see people casually watching the movie. You don't see a lot of Halloween costumes. Okay, I kind of lied. There is a lot of Halloween costumes, but you get what I'm trying to say. And the reason why this is the case is pretty simple, but devastating at the same time. The Avatar movies are more of an event than an actual story. I think of Avatar movies the way I think of theme park rides. You go on them, you enjoy yourself, you're amazed. You think about it like for one day after that, and right after that, you forget about everything until James Cameron drags you back to the theater to watch the next movie. When the original Avatar movie came out in 2009, it was revolutionary. The movie didn't just use 3D. It forced the industry to make 3D the standard. It was an event in the purest sense. The Avatar movies was the Avengers Endgame before Avengers Endgame. You had to go watch it in the theater to see James Cameron's true vision. And that is important because Avatar is built around immersion and not necessarily story. Now, don't get me wrong, all 3 movies so far has had pretty good story elements that I actually enjoyed in the theater. They're just not complex enough for me to feel any emotional attachment to any of those stories. Jake Sully to me does not feel like the main character of that movie. He seems like he's like a camera in which we watch the actual main character through. And who is the actual main character in this sense? It's the planet, it's Pandora, or Ewa as they might call it in the movie. That is the true protagonist of the movie. Everything else is just there to support the beauty and the workings of this planet, which is why the movie focuses more on immersion than actual story. And this kind of worked because the movies make billions every goddamn time, but this came at a cost because after you watch the movie, there is nothing to unpack once the spectacle fades. There is no moral question that lingers. The movie ends and so does your emotional ties to the movie. There is no character arcs that are worth revisiting. And when you think about it, the character arcs that you do get are being reused in every movie. And that's why most people, yes, sometimes they will see the Avatar movies multiple times in theaters, but when it does release on VOD or streaming, nobody goes back to watch them. Another issue is that all 3 of these movies are the same movie. Like, if you think I'm exaggerating, let us play another game. This is a random plot from a random movie. Take Avatar out of your head, right? In this movie, a random outsider enters an indigenous culture, learns their ways, becomes better at their culture than they are. Evil humans want resources. Military guy ignores warnings and attacks the natives anyways. Military guy also has a vendetta against the main character, which is the outsider. Outsider joins forces with the natives and leads them to victory against the military guy and evil humans. Outsider is known as the chosen one. That is the plot of all 3 of the Avatar movies. Obviously with a few differences here and there, but the core message of the movies are the same, which is colonialism, but bad. Which is a great message, by the way. Great message. I just wish the execution could have been a little different in all three movies. You see, James Cameron reminds me of Zack Snyder. Both of them are some of the greatest directors I've ever seen. They know how to make shit look beautiful, but at the same time, they're also below average storytellers. I always find myself disappointed every time I go to see any of their movies when it comes to the story part. But you see the visuals though, they're both unmatched in the industry. My other issue in this movie is this guy. Why does he keep coming back? I am tired of Colonel Quaritch. He was a good antagonist for the first movie. And even when they brought him back for the second movie, I'm like, okay, cool, I guess. But then when I went to see the third movie and I found out, I mean, we knew he was kind of coming back from the second movie, but all the same, he's still the main villain in the third movie, which was annoying as hell. Can we see something else? The decision to keep bringing him back reveals a lot about the limitations of this franchise. The sequel introduces us to the idea of internal conflict amongst the Na'vi people. It introduces us to the idea of different tribes, different philosophies, different relationship with the nature around them. And most notably, the recent movie introduces us to Varang, a Na'vi antagonist who was marketed to be the main villain of this movie actually. So I was kind of excited to see what this character would bring. So you have no idea how annoyed I was to find out that it was Colonel Quaritch who ends up being the main antagonist of the goddamn movie. Like, Varang is a character who actually represents internal conflict within Pandora. She represents the different values, different philosophies. She has a moral ambiguity. She represents ideological conflicts amongst like the Na'vi people. And she shows the reality that colonized worlds are not a monolith, which was all cool stuff to see. And James Cameron, a few minutes into the movie, said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm giving you Colonel Quaritch. Like, why? Why do we keep getting this guy? And to make it worse, she becomes his girlfriend. Yeah, Varang could have easily become this franchise's Killmonger. Instead, she became a footnote. Because Avatar is terrified of changing its formula, it would rather resurrect the same villain over and over again than give us something fresh, something new. They would rather resurrect the same antagonist than let Pandora feel complicated. It doesn't trust the audience to engage with internal conflict. It needs its villain to be external, loud, and cartoonishly evil. So because of that, we keep going back to the same military antagonist guy, the same guns versus nature imagery, the same emotional beats. It's safe, yeah, but it's also very boring. The Avatar franchise makes money because it's an event. Parents go, grandparents go, your children go. People who don't even watch a lot of movies go to see the Avatar movies. It's a 4-quadrant cinema. It offends nobody, it challenges nothing, and asks absolutely nothing of you emotionally. Which is why people don't argue about this movie online. They don't obsess over it, and they don't build identities around it. Cultural impact comes from friction. It comes from flaws. It comes from characters that people can latch onto. Avatar is too smooth to leave a scar. So yeah, the Avatar movies are very impressive. They're very beautiful, they're technically groundbreaking, and they're also the most expensive screensavers ever made. 3 movies in, it's still telling the same story, the same villain in slightly different shades of blue. Having said that, I will absolutely be seated in the next movie. I'll probably enjoy it, and I'll probably complain just like this, because no one does spectacle like James Cameron. I just wish he cared more about the story as much as he cares about water physics. Obviously, if you disagree with me, you can always put it in the comments and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video.